Holy heck, how are we doing today, Empire enthusiasts? It's your boy, Edward Elric here, Koala-T Gaming. No hat, freshly shaved, new haircut, just for you guys, just so I can look professional, because today I have got one of the biggest videos that I'm ever probably going to make in my entire life, you guys. It is my 1 month of absolute grindstone research about a character that you may not know about. Have you guys ever heard the tragedy of Bodhi Rook? The unused? Oh, I thought not. But you are today, and you're going to realize now why you should maybe start using him on your Mon Mothma team. Because I have a big old theory that I think cannot be debunked. Bodhi Rook is viable, and we're going to get right into that right away. Actually kidding, we're not going to get right into that right away. We have some house cleaning stuff to do real quick first, so there's going to be a timestamp coming up on here if you want to skip this part. So first off, I'd like to give a shout out to a guy named Randy Shaw. I'm giving this guy a shout out because he actually built the Mon Mothma team that I recommended in a previous video, which will show up on the screen somewhere also too. That to me feels awesome. The fact that I was able to, reach out and inspire someone else to do something as a creator, that makes me feel pretty good about myself. So thank you, Randy Shaw, for that in that Facebook group where I shared my videos. Or I guess my video was shared by someone else, but thank you a lot, dude. And before we get right into it, you guys, another thing we gotta do is we gotta shout out today's sponsor of the video, and that's gonna be Gabriel Vivian of Gabriel Vivian's Vlogs on YouTube. He gave me a crisp $5 bill. What a darn nice guy he is. Having him sponsor my video, that's a great feeling. I feel like I officially have made it as a YouTube creator, you guys. So check out his channel. It'll be up here on the screen somewhere. You can click on that. I'm actually in one of his videos. He's a great friend of mine, a great friend of the channel's. He was a part of the original crew on Koala-T films. So check out his vlogs. He's actually going to be soon making me a video on Pokemon Go, I believe. Him vlogging and playing Pokemon Go for the channel. So expanding the channel a little bit. So go check his stuff out, you guys. Let's get into some disclaimers right off the bat. So the team that I use is Mon Mothma, Pow, Bodhi, Kara, and Biston. Now, when I'm saying that Bodhi Rook is a viable option, I'm also not saying that Hoth Scout is a bad option. I'm not trying to say out here don't use Hoth Scout, don't get Hoth Scout, he's terrible, he's bad. No, I'm not saying that. So disclaimer there. Second disclaimer. So I don't want to discourage the information that I have because my characters are not relicked. The highest gear I have right now is I have a Gear 11 POW, which I, for only doing this for a month free to play, that's pretty good, especially for me. So I actually can't even believe that he's Gear 11. Honestly, I don't even. His gear after Gear 9 was easy, but besides that, I still want the math to. The math of what I'm trying to say is what's more important, actually, than the actual relics. I will have a little bit of footage from an Arnold video about a relics Mon Mothma team to show you, kind of the scaling upwards. So I want you to take what I'm saying and then maybe just apply it to what your characters are at relic. So when I say my character hits for this much damage at this gear, you can be like, okay, well, if his does that, then mine will do this. His math says this, so it should do that. You'll see as we go through the video. So let's finally dive right into this video about Bodhi Rook, guys. I'm so excited. Let's begin with a quick overview of Mon Mothma as a team and what her team composition kind of maybe is or what it should be leaning towards. So to me, when I read her leadership Zeta, it says that you're basically like Geonosians, so now every time you do any attack, you're going to do, everyone's going to come to assist, okay? And the baseline is that if it's an attack that does damage, so let's say I just, do my basic with that. So I call everyone to assist, but now it's a minus 90% damage penalty. Now, if I do an attack that does not deal any damage, so for example, Pow's Sakala, no damage is done by that actual attack, then everyone is going to get a minus 45% damage penalty. Now, to wrap your head around this kind of mathematical stuff and why you can sometimes see these teams hitting like wet noodles, it actually has to do with that damage penalty and how much extra damage you're actually doing when you have the minus 45% damage penalty compared to the 90. So, if we just pretend that we're doing 100% damage to one character, we're just going to make it really simplified. One character does 100 damage, okay? He's called to assist, and it was an attack that dealt damage. So now he is getting a minus 90% damage penalty. So 90% of 100 is 90. 100 minus 90 is 10. You are now doing 10 damage on that mass assist attack. Just for that one character, obviously. Now, let's say Pao goes Sakala mode over here, and you call someone to assist. Now they have a minus 45% damage penalty. What that means is that they are doing 45% of 100, 45. 100 minus 45 is 55. Now, if we compare those two different numbers, the 55 and the 10, 55 divided by 10 is 5.5, which means you are actually doing 5.5 times more mass assist damage than what you regularly would be doing with just a regular attack. So you're not getting full damage, but you're getting a lot more damage out of the mass assist, which is probably what you want if you have 4 other characters attacking. I say 4, I guess 5 technically with the rebel officer, but Mon Mothma doesn't actually attack, so. But you can see here that this kind of makes me think that you need to lean towards having more characters that have non-damage attacks, like again, Pao's Sakala. And Pao's Sakala is a perfect example because of his Zeta also. He's not getting 40%, he's getting the extra 5 for each attack out of turn that the rebels are taking with their basics, so that helps a lot there too. So why Bodhi Rook? Well, if Bodhi Rook is going to fit into the equation, I'm saying don't use Scout Trooper. Scout Trooper has no attacks that deal no damage. He has his special is a stun, where he gains 100% turn meter on a critical hit, and then his basic gains turn meter. Now, let's actually just not focus on that right now, and we're going to talk about the pros of using Bodhi Rook in your team over Scout. So I'm going to have some footage going all over the place, kind of. I'm going to be talking, and there's just going to be, I have a lot of footage from Hoth territory battles, from, I believe, the Galactic Challenge. I just was doing some stuff just to show you guys that my team, what I have right now, and I'm sorry, again, they're not relics and stuff like that, so. But for me, Bodhi Rook has a lot of pros that I think people are looking past, and let's actually begin with Bodhi Rook modding-wise. So, how do you want to mod Bodhi Rook? Well, the game tells you speed and potency, and I'm going to tell you right now, 100% agree on that. 100% agree that you need speed and potency. So, Bodhi Rook, in my opinion, needs to be the character going first on the team. Because Bodhi Rook's second special is remove 10% turn meter, doubled on Empire, but we're just going to negate Empire stuff right now. And 20% for your team. So now, basically every battle, it's going to be a 30% turn meter swap right away. You're going to gain 20, they're going to lose 10 right off the bat, and he's going first. That attack deals no damage, so your first mass assist is going to be dealing massive damage, or the more damage that you're supposed to be, the minus 45% kind of damage that we're talking about here. So, not only that, Cara Dune is now taunting on that first turn. You did massive damage. Pao is probably ready to go now because you did attacks with your basics, with the mass assist, so Pao's probably ready to go now. Pao's going to call it a Sakala, and then the turn meter train starts. Not only that, but the potency is really good. Bodhi Rook needs to be potent. Because you need to be removing that turn meter when he has that attack. You don't want stuff to be resisted, obviously. And Mon Mothma, in my opinion, is not as much about the gaining the turn meter, but removing. Because you have characters like Biston, who my Biston has like 90% potency, and that's base potency. That's not sharing. That's not with his unique. So that means that his special, his second special, is going to be removing 100% turn meter if it's not resisted. So I want him to have a lot more potency from sharing the team. I want Cara Dune to have a lot of potency because her AoE could remove 50% turn meter from everyone on the opposite team. That's crazy. And Bodhi Rook can swap a little bit of turn meter here and there too. That's really good in my opinion too. So really to me, Mon Mothma is an assisting team that needs to take the most amount of damage they can from the assists, and they're removing a lot more turn meter than they really are gaining. They are doing a lot of gaining, of course, with Pao. Bodhi can do kind of the same thing with his special that Pao's does kind of, but now that we know that this is how Bodhi Rook needs to be modded, now maybe you could put like, I'm telling you now, the potency cross might be the best way. You could do probably an offensive cross. You could I couldn't see you doing an offensive arrow. You gotta have the speed arrow, I'm guessing. But other than that, Bodhi Rook, fast, very fast, fastest character hopefully, behind probably Cara Dune and Pow, and then very potent for the team because the team needs potency to be removing a lot of turn meter. So when we're talking about the mass assists and stuff like that, how many non-damage attacks are on a team without Bodhi with Scout? So you have 3 with Mon Mothma, 0 for Kara, 1 for Biston on his Frenzy, 1 for Pow on his Sakala. And then you have Scout Trooper and Kara in there. If you add Bodhi and remove Scout Trooper, you now have 7 because he has 2 attacks that deal no damage. And I'm going to tell you right now, the most important character probably on Mon Mothma is actually going to be Pow. And how do you make Pow even more juicy? How do you make Pow just a killer on the field? Let me tell you right now, Bodhi Rook is going to be Pow's greatest synergy, hands down, because of Bodhi Rook and Pow's synergy of their kits. So first off, Bodhi Rook's first special is going to pair absolutely perfectly with Pow, because if we know anything about Pow's basic is deals damage a second time if he's buffed, deals damage a third time if the enemy is debuffed. Well, what if I told you that if you didn't know, Bodhi Rook's first special will give the ally that you're asking to assist, it will give them offensive up and potency up, and then it'll actually inflict evasion down on the enemy, meaning that you have given Pow the buffs he need, and you have put a debuff on the enemy that he's targeting now, making sure that Pow is now going to attack all 3 times. But not only that, this attack is considered a non-damage attack because Bodhi Rook himself is not actually doing any damage. This means that Pow is going to be called to assist and called to assist like twice in a turn. So he is going to deal damage 6 times, you guys. 6 times in one attack. And now I have my Pow is modded for crit trans crit damage. And my Pow hits for an average of, on the minus 45% damage, 35k on average he's getting on that mass assist. So 3,500 times 3, you're getting 11,500 damage out here. And then he hits for about, I'm just going to say, I'm pretty sure it's about 8,000 regularly for each. So if he gets all 3 again with crits, that's an extra 24. So my Pow Zedong at gear 11 is hitting for a 35k crit bomb on an enemy on 1 turn. And that is not counting that everyone else that you're calling to assist to deal more than half of what they normally do. So you could in 1 turn be doing 50,000 damage, and that's with me with like gear 8 Mon Mothma and then a gear 11 Pow that just have a juicy Pow. That's just with 1 attack. Now of course it's every 4 turns, but with that 1 move, you could literally delete a character at Relic. Like, if you understand like what's going on here, like with what your math, like let's say if your Pow hits for 20,000 regularly, like you could be hitting 60 with just that plus half of that, so that's what, 90k with just your Pow or something like that. That's a lot. That's a lot of damage. I'm just gonna be honest. That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. How about a little more?
This is a slight synergy with the whole team and why evasion down might be okay. So when you have AoEs like Cara Dune's, you want every single one of those to hit. You want that AoE to always hit. So the evasion down might be useful. In addition, when you're doing the mass assist, you kind of want everyone to hit because you want Pow to get the turn meter. Like, you want the damage to actually be done so they use their basic and stuff. So the evasion down can be nice, but it's probably not the biggest thing. The debuff itself is probably just good for just Pow anyway to get, the 3 attacks off for his basic. Here's the big thing. So I'm going to pull this clip up. So this was Arnold in one of his streams that I was watching, and it was him going against a Mon Mothma team. And I'm gonna really delve into why Bodhi Rook might be better than Scout for this situation too. So, and you might know where I'm going with this, but this is just like a minute thing on the side. So, I have been doing a lot of research on defense, and I'm still not sure if there really is a solid evidence for what defense really means for the game. I've looked at a lot of things on Reddit, and I've looked all over the place on the forums too. And some people are like, this could be outdated, we're not sure. So from what I understand though, from just like modding and everything, when you think of, stats, percentage-wise stats are probably going to be a lot better if you're, at a higher tier of like numbers. Like obviously, you don't want an ETH Koth lead where what is ETH Koth lead like plus 80 defense, like plus 80 defense, just plus 80, the number 80. Like how does that help me at all if I already have if I have 100 defense, I just add 80. Okay, so I just add 80 defense, but at the same time I could add, if I have 10,000 defense plus 80, 10,080, but now I add 50% of that. Now I have plus another 5,000. So to me, percentage-wise stuff is huge. And you'll notice here that Bodhi Rook's unique is that if the allies have offensive up, they have plus 50% defense. And this battle, this team never lost offensive up, if you can see that. They didn't lose offensive up the whole battle. And that means they also have 50% defense. So why I think that's important is because, well, if Sith Trooper comes in because you killed the Sith, and then now he's ticked off and he wants to do his AoE might not do as much damage. And this could be good for the fact that your health is going to be really low and that the trail lead is eating you up. And we're going to get a little bit more into the trail lead and stuff like that and why Bodhi Rook's good. But at the same time, this is a team that is sharing stats, you guys. They are sharing protection and health. So an extra 50% defense to make that extra health and protection just tankier, like that's a huge benefit for you for sure. And especially if they're not even trying to take a turn, you know what I mean? The last minor thing is that he has a support tag, just like Mon Mothma. So he is going to be doing a little bit more healing and stuff like that instead of the attackers who are going to assist on the rally and stuff like that. And the healing can be good, especially if you're getting low and stuff like that. Right again with the trail lead. But we're gonna get right into the trail lead right now, okay? So, how do you counter Mon Mothma? What are the best counters of Mon Mothma? Well, how do a lot of people counter Geos? If you have Jawas, which credit to you for having Jawas, by the way. Credit to you for having Jawas, because they aren't really useful anymore except for being a counter meta team against droids, Geos, and now Mon Mothma. So yeah, there you go, there's a team. So another team, of course, is obviously Treya lead. That Treya is the biggest bug spray of all time. Everyone probably knows that. So it works just as well with Mon Mothma because you're doing the same thing. You're attacking out of turn. That's not inside your turn. You're going to be losing 35% of your max health. Fact check me on that if I'm right. But so this is where I'm going to get into the main theme of this. So if you're in a GAC and someone uses Darth Revan on your Mon Mothma, you win that trade. They just used Darth Revan on Mon Mothma, and now maybe they can't counter something more important, like they can't get out of Galactic Legend, or they used Jedi Knight Revan and they use really good Jedi, and boom, now they can't counter Galactic Legend or something like that. You're basically risking wasting a good team on Mon Mothma when you're like, okay, well, I need to probably use Treya lead. If I have Jawas, I probably should just use them with the scavenger and the line in the sand, that unique. So Bodhi Rook is going to do something that Scout can't do, and that is give you quality turns over quantity turns. These teams that are countering you want you to take as many turns as possible. So how do you get the most damage out of your turns? How do you take the least amount of turns? And how do you negate these leads and these uniques that are trying to slow you down and basically just kill you off as you go because you're just taking a lot of turns? Bodhi Rook. Bodhi Rook, it's crazy to think, but Bodhi Rook really is good for this reason. He's going to provide you that extra tankiness with the offensive up, because Pow is always going to be spamming Sakala, so there's going to always be offensive up, so you're going to be a little bit tankier, especially when you're getting to the yellows and the reds, and you're getting eaten away a little bit. That's going to be huge, obviously, but more importantly, if he's going first, and he has 2 extra attacks that deal no damage, then you're going to be in your loops. You could kill off a character easy. So hopefully somewhere I have that on here, but you're going to notice this might be the Arnold one again. So again, this is, me showing you relic stuff so you can believe the numbers. Guys, these characters hitting what, I think someone on here hit for 500. If I get a zoom in on that, you can see that. A relic character hitting for 500 because of minus 90%. You are not going to kill anyone, and you are wasting yourself those turns, and you are just getting yourself killed faster. Bodhi Rook, though, is going to say, well, why don't we just do a lot of damage and then kill someone and then survive a Sith Trooper AoE, or even kill Sith Trooper maybe. Maybe they target Sith Trooper if Zion doesn't have a going on or something like that. And now you can get to the point where it's like, okay, well, if you're going to come at me with Traya, I'm going to kill 2 to 3, maybe 4, and just trade a left or something like that. And now you're not getting a high banner win in this team, Heck, you could even lose. There could be circumstances where you lose this battle. Scout Trooper, yes, he is feeding you so much turn meter and he can give you a lot of turns. But guys, you're taking a lot of turns, but you're not doing a lot of damage. I would rather, everyone would rather. Would you rather take 100 turns, but deal 500 damage each turn? Or would you rather take 10 turns and deal the same amount of damage? I'm going to tell you right now, you would rather take the less amount of turns and do more damage. And that is exactly how you're going to counter teams like this. The way you're going to counter teams that are trying to take you out, they're almost taunting you to take a lot of turns. They're like, well, you can eat away at us too, but we're eating away at you while you take a lot of turns. Reducing your amount of turns, still removing turn meter, so it's not like you're losing that turn meter train. You're still removing a lot of their turn meter. You're just going to be taking a lot more quality turns over quantity turns. Now, I know it's kind of funny I'm saying quality turns on Koala-T gaming, but if you didn't ever get the Koala-T joke, but quality turns over quantity turns is going to be the way to counter these teams. And then people are going to say, well, if they have Bodhi Rook, they might kill 2 people off very quickly, and now, they're only halfway through. We kill someone, but then the revive comes out from Mon Mothma, and now they're healed, and now they just do it again, and they keep doing it, and Bodhi Rook is going to get you out there fast. He is going to give you high damage turns on those mass assists, and he is going to be the greatest POW synergy that there is on these teams. So hopefully you're kind of seeing the damage outputs that you need to be doing and how you're going to be maybe countering these teams. Now, of course, I don't have concrete footage of this. I am limited by the technology of my time, you guys. Right now, I'm 18 years old and I'm in college, you guys. If I could spend the money on Bodhi Rook and this team to make him good, I would. I really would, because I want to know, even on offense, I want to know what this team could do with that. Imagine you have a POW that just deals high damage and you call him in for that 6 attack. You could deal massive damage with that. You really actually could. And this team being like a turn meter removing team, and having the higher damage with the attacks that deal no damage, I think that is what their benefits are. So I'm not saying Scout Trooper's bad, because I want to tell you right now, PvE, oh yeah, Scout Trooper all day. Guys, you want to be taking all the turns. You don't want the enemies to take any turns in PvE, especially like light side Geo. You want to be taking all the turns. You don't want the enemies taking any turns. So 100% agree there that Scout Trooper is probably the better option there, because hey, even if you're not hitting very hard, you're still getting a lot of turns in there, and POW's going to be doing Sakalas and stuff like that. And at the same time in PvP, if you are going to be taking a lot of turns and you're not hitting very hard, it's just going to be a long battle. And if you look in PvP, most PvP battles don't last the whole 5 minutes unless it's it's stall out, like Geo stall out or something like that. And to me, Scout Trooper in PvP, if you can get Mon Mothma to all the way to the officer and then having the cooldown start going, then, kudos to you, but most of the counter teams are just going to say, well, that's what we want. We want you guys to take a lot of turns. So, but again, Scout Trooper PvE, I don't discredit him for that at all. Bodhi Rook, I'm just thinking Bodhi Rook might be better PvP wise, maybe better in Territory Wars, Grand Arena. just because of the fact that his unique is working with POW, he's working with POW, he works with the whole team, he's being sneaky with the turn meter removal, he's fast, he's potent, and I think you guys should take a look at Bodhi Rook. I truly think you guys should take a darn look at Bodhi Rook. Cons of Bodhi Rook. So, not a con, this isn't, but he's a Galactic War Farm, so that means you can get him 7-star easy. Okay, so if you're still doing Hoth, he is a pretty important character. I'm not sure on Lightside Geo. Haven't done Lightside Geo, so I apologize if he's a character in there. People have Bodhi Rook, especially geared up. Biggest con of Bodhi Rook though, and it's not that he's squishy, but because he's squishy, yes, but the Mon Mothma and stuff, that's gonna juice him up a little bit, so that'll help him actually a little bit. I've had Bodhi Rook, especially with the plus 50% defense, I've seen him survive a lot of big hits. So his biggest downfall, in my opinion, guys, gear. His gear is really hard. And the Mon Mothma team in general, so Mon Mothma's hard, Bodhi's really hard. To get him to gear 9, I think I need a Carbonti, a stun gun, and a cuff. Like, just for gear 9. Like, that is... Oh, his gear crunch, that's really hard. Like, POW, somehow I got him up all the way to gear 11. He's not hard to... He must not be hard to gear. I just had gear at the time, so I might have wasted all on POW. But Bodhi might be kind of a gear crunch. So that, to me, is his biggest weakness. And again, his other weakness is that maybe he's not giving you the big turn meter train that you're looking for with Scout. But then again, I also do want to say 40% isn't a lot. It's not a big percent. I'm not discrediting that you're not going to get the plus 25% turn meter from Scout's basic because you're doing it all the time. So obviously you're going to get it. But the 40% is on the lower side. Obviously, if Scarif still had his basic how it is, then that would be crazy. So I see why they nerfed that. So other than that, guys, I think I hopefully convinced you on that. If there's something I'm missing, obviously put it in the comments, or if there's something you want explained deeper. I'm trying to just make this broad because again, I'm hoping this isn't half an hour long video, but if it is, I'm sorry. So that about wraps us up for this video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this video, guys. I spent a month and a half, maybe more. I was super passionate about this. I really do see Bodhi Rook. I see something about him, okay? Like, I legitimately see him as a character that there's something that everyone's missing about him. I legitimately think that he actually could be a viable option, which is crazy because Bodhi Rook has always been, like, an undermined character his whole career, really. I don't know for sure. I've always looked into it. If there was a Rogue One meta when Rogue One came out because they were new, I don't know if Bodhi was actually on the team or not, but if Bodhi was actually like a meta back then, that is so cool. That's really funny, honestly, because I just couldn't imagine it now because Bodhi Rook is never used. I see all the big dogs that Bodhi Rook is 7-star gear 1, or they have him in a certain gear for, making relic pieces and stuff like that. So that wraps us up, guys. Share this video. Get this video all over the place. Let people know that I think Bodhi Rook is good and that maybe I've convinced you that Bodhi Rook is good too. Bodhi Rook cult in the house, guys. Take a look at Bodhi Rook. Quality turns over quantity turns. 5.5 more mass assist damage, you guys. Bring Bodhi Rook back. Let's do this, guys. I am Edward Elric, Empire enthusiast. For some reason, loving Bodhi Rook a rebel. Peace out of here. Koala-T Gaming. We out.